What's up, everybody? It's Kaiser Axel bringing you another battle of the Maverick Doubles Draft League. Yeah, name still unsure about, but whatever. In today's match, we have replays because they did this while I was busy. So it is a replay of Glen, aka the Bascu-Legions, versus them, the Cholomanders. So looking at both of their teams, we see that Glen, who's on this side right here, he's rocking the Kanto Arcanine, Tapu Bulu, Nihilego, Gastrodon, the Grimmsnarl, and the Indeedee female. I see a lot of Trick Room potential, not too many fast Pokemon outside of that Nihilego, so if he does want to outspeed things, he has to make sure that the Nihilego stays alive. Otherwise, he could go for that Trick Room, but that Trick Room could also be very beneficial to his opponent's side, seeing as there is the Gigalith and the Incineroar. There's also great support Pokemon on Glen's side from the Indeedee and the Grimmsnarl. Both of those Pokemon can set up, like I said, the screens or Trick Room, and then Indeedee can do Helping Hand, and then Arcanine with the Intimidate support. So I think overall, Glen has a good core. He even has that Fire, Water, Grass, which, you know, basic core. If Glen wants to win, I think his best approach would be to keep I think the Grimmsnarl and the Tapu Bulu are going to be his key Pokemon to winning the game. With the right Terras, both of those can prove fatal to his opponent's side. I mean, just look at Grimmsnarl versus everything on Nem's team. It kills the Urshifu, kills the Riolu, it kills the Garchomp, and then Jump Off is pretty light, so it can pretty much KO that easily. And then the Tapu Bulu can do just about the same thing that the Grimmsnarl can. So I think those will be his key Pokemon to his victory. And then looking at his opponent's side, on Nem's team, there is the Incineroar, the Urshifu Rapid Strike, Jumpluff, Riolu, Mega Garchomp, and a Gigalith. Obviously, there's a lot of good threats on top of the Cholomanders team. That Incineroar is going to give that great Intimidate support. Urshifu doesn't care about Protect, so it'll just go right through it, which could help break momentum. There is the Jumpluff. Obviously, the Chlorophyll's not going to work all too well because there is no no sun here. However, that Jumpluff can set up Tailwind or even give out that sleep status to the rest of Glen's Pokemon. The Riolu is an interesting pick overall, but I do know that it gets some interesting tech because it does have access to Prankster. Mega Garchomp is such a threat to Glen's team. It can hurt everything aside from the Bulu, I believe. Yes, it can do a lot of damage to everything but the Bulu. And then the Gigalith is there, so it can set up the sand for that Garchomp, so that Sand Force? No. I think it's Sand Force. So that Sand Force can activate and then to help the Garchomp do so much damage. If the Cholomanders want to win, he has to be able to know how to keep that Urshifu and that Garchomp alive. But anyways, let's hop right into the battle. So we do see that let's go a little well, no, that's too fast. Let's go a little slower. We do see that there's the Arcanine and the Grimmsnarl coming out for Glen's side versus the Riolu and the Gigalith. Terra Ground is so interesting on that Riolu. I don't know why he did that. And then we see the Fake Out on the Gigalith, but we also see an eject button. So bye-bye Gigalith and hello Garchomp. So now we might see a potential Garchomp staying in and going for that Mega to pick up a KO. If he's going for that Earthquake, we do see the Tapu Bulu with that Grassy Seed, which means it will eat up all of the Heezah. It'll eat up all of those Earthquakes. We do see the Quick Guard, so no Parting Shot, and the Sword Stance coming out from the Mega Garchomp. So right now it's looking like a good turn for Nem. We see Feint trying to protect any possible protects. Nothing really. And then the Reflect coming up, so that damage, but useless against a critical hit. And it's a one-hit KO. The Garchomp picks up a kill. Goodbye, Grimmsnarl. But the Bulu fires back with a heavy wood hammer boosted by that grassy terrain. Arcanine comes in, lowering the attacks of both of his opponent's Pokemon. and out goes the Garchomp out into the Gigalith. We see Protect being fired off by the Riolu and both of the puppies actually, and Woodhammer picking up another kill against the Gigalith. So this Woodhammer is, not another one, it's the first one. It's proving pretty heavy hitting. Like I said, the Bulu is going to be really tough for Nem's team to deal with, so he has to kill that Bulu if he wants to live. Earthquake being fired off, but doing not enough damage, as we know, like with the grassy terrain, as well as, you know, resistances and whatnot. We see Bulk Up coming out for the Bulu, which means it's going to be able to tank a lot of hits. If I were Nem, I'd go for that Quick Guard, that way that extreme speed cannot touch that Garchomp, and there is the Quick Guard. But instead of firing off into the Arcanine, he decides to go for a Sword Stance, and the Riolu gets the Terror Blast. So now I think he should try to go for that Quick Guard once more, that way he can stop this extreme speed, but he doesn't, and down goes the Garchomp, and I believe it's 3 Pokemon versus this one Riolu, versus Riolu and the Jumpluff, as we see here. I don't think that Nem is in a good position. We see the Arcanine switching out into the Nihilego, and I just think it's going to be a win for the Bascu-Legion here. I don't believe that any of Nem's Pokemon can actually do anything to Glen's side, so unfortunate for him, but yeah, that's the way the game goes. I think that Terra Ground really early kind of messed him up, because I think some of these other Pokemon possibly could have used a better Terra. And also that Bulu, I swear, that Bulu is just so strong. He should have actually gone for the Strength Sap against the Bulu, lowering its attack as well as getting a heck of a lot of HP, but he doesn't, and down goes the Jumpluff. And that is game 1 for the Bascu-Legion. We're going to pause the recording and get right into game 2. What's up everyone, we're at game 2 right now. If you watched the first part, then you know that Glen won that first game with 3-0. So that's putting him in a very good position. And I think in game 2, if Nem wants to win, if the Cholomanders want to win, I think we should see that combination of that Garchomp and the Urshifu. Having both of those Pokemon together could potentially do so much to Glen's team. He needs to break through all these Pokemon if he wants to at least win a game or two. And you know what, we'll see exactly what's going to happen. I also think that the Incineroar should actually come in here, because the only things that really stop the Incin would be the Nihilego and the Gastrodon. But even then, I don't think that the Incin would take too much damage from both of those Pokemon, and the Intimidate drop's going to help him out all so much. Plus it threatens the Indeedee, so he really should bring that Incineroar. He should bring the Incineroar, the Urshifu, the Garchomp, and in my opinion, he probably should leave the Gigalith home and maybe bring in the Riolu, because that Quick Guard, you know, against the Prankster Pokemon Grimmsnarl, as well as that Extreme Speed, having that Quick Guard is going to help him out so much. I don't think that Jumpluff here would help him all too much. And then for Glen's team, he could just run it back if he wanted to. Honestly, he's a game up. He didn't really lose all too much. He got crit through the Reflect, but I think the Grimmsnarl probably could have lived that. But anyways, let's hop right into game 2. Let's change this to stall. There we go. Alright, and then we see the Grimmsnarl and the Nihilego lead for Glen, and we're going to see that Gigalith and the Riolu. This is an interesting start for both of our players, because right now that Nihilego is threatening so much damage to Nem's team. And we're just going to see a Reflect up here, that way the Nihilego can easily take any hits. We see Hidden Power, gets a crit, but not sure exactly what type of Hidden Power it is. It's probably going to be Hidden Power Ice, knowing Glen. We see the Grimmsnarl being changed out, and we see the Garchomp also in as well. The Grassy Seed will activate on that Grassy Terrain. Garchomp Mega Evolves, and we see a Quick Guard, but I don't know why he activated the Quick Guard there. Honestly, it wasn't going to help him out too much. We see the Sword Stance on the Garchomp. However, that Nihilego outspeeds everything and should be able to pick up a KO. Nem does switch out the Garchomp for that Urshifu. Tries to go for a double protect on the Riolu, doesn't get it, unfortunately, and instead He's kind of comes out here okay here. The hidden power not being effective against that Urshifu means it has to be HP Water or HP Ice. Or maybe HP Fire, but I doubt it. If it was Fire and Water, then it would be super effective. Not effective, but it was neutral, so it has to be HP Ice. We do see the Gastrodon, and that Surging Strikes does nothing against Gastrodon thanks to its Storm Drain, and the Urshifu will instead take that Wood Hammer and go down. This Bulu is honestly such a threat. I remember when Glen had it back in the singles draft tournament that we had. Garchomp coming back out, and we do see the Quick Guard. I don't think Nem knows what Pokemon really has any sort of priority moves, so I think the Quick Guard wasn't necessary there. He probably could have gone for some other thing, maybe like a Helping Hand. That Stone Edge would have done a lot of damage. Obviously not to the Gastrodon, but to that the Tapu Bulu, which I think he actually needed. But it is 4 Pokemon to 2, and I honestly think that Glen has this still, because that Tapu Bulu is such a threat, having that Bulk Up and that Grassy Seed, and it just will not go down. But we do see the Riolu also going down instead to the Scald, and that is the game. GG's to both of our players. They have done really well throughout the tournament. Glen just number 1 right now, and for Nem, he's doing his own research. He's not really asking for help or anything like that, so I'm proud of him for doing those sorts of things. And you know what? We'll see more of what's happening for him next time. Looking at next week's schedule, let's go down to week 4. We do see that Glen will be challenging the Hoenn Heavyweights. That's going to be an interesting match because Owl has so many interesting Pokemon. There's some VGC Mons in there, and I believe he could have potential against Glen's team if played correctly. For Glen, he's gonna have a little trouble because Owl has been playing some interesting things. So we'll see how he'll be able to adapt. But that's for next week. And then the Cholomanders will be going up against the Pokepun squad. That's gonna be a battle for last. Because actually no, the Pokemon squad is not last. That's the Hoenn Heavyweights and the Cholomanders who are currently last. But yeah, that should be an interesting match because both of them are fairly new to competitive Pokemon battling. So we'll see how exactly that's going to go. Honestly, it's going to be fun to watch any match. And yeah, be sure to look out for any other matches that will be coming your way. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know I'm doing commentary alone, but that's fine. If you want to watch the live reaction, go make sure to check out Glen's channel. His link is down below in the description. And we'll see you next time, gamers. Bye-bye.